Welcome to our channel. We're so happy to have you here. Don't forget to subscribe and help us hit our goal of 100,000 subscribers. In 1974, Masahisa Fukase photographed his wife, Yoko Wanibe, every morning from the window of their apartment in Tokyo as she left for work. In 1962, a photograph taken by Jim Meads captured a dramatic moment in aviation history. The image shows the crash of the plane piloted by George Aird. The longest prison sentence in history of 384,912 years was given not to a dangerous criminal, but to Spanish letter carrier Gabriel March Grandos. He failed to deliver 42,768 letters, opening them to find money. He managed to embezzle about 50,000 euros. After 14 years in prison, he was released. Pope Pius IX, last sovereign lord of the Papal State before the Italian unification, giving his blessing to King Francis II of Naples, Sicily. Also kneeling on the left is my ancestral relative, Colonel Athanas Charette de la Contrie of the Papal Zouaves, a motorcycle dispatch rider reading the details of a grave marker. In the background, an observation balloon is preparing to ascend. The writing on the grave marker, written in German, says, "Hier ruhen tapfere französische Krieger," or "Here rest brave French warriors." This is the safety net that was installed under the Golden Gate Bridge during its construction in the 1930s. The net saved 19 people through the duration of the work. The Great San Francisco earthquake of 1906 was the deadliest earthquake in U.S. history, resulting in the deaths of over 3,000 people. In the aftermath of the disaster, you could literally see where the Earth split along the San Andreas Fault. This is the Willamette meteorite, the largest meteorite that's ever been found in the United States. This is what the world's largest gold nugget, named the Welcome Stranger Nugget, looked like. It was found in Australia in 1869. This 17th century painting by Giovanni Stanchi shows what the inside of a watermelon looked like in the 1600s, before selective breeding. This is one of the only pictures of President Andrew Jackson, taken shortly before his death in 1845. On September 3, 1967, Sweden made a shift from driving on the left side of the road to driving on the right. This is a picture from the first day after the big change. This picture, taken by Robert Cornelius in 1839, is generally accepted as the first selfie. Tourists used to be able to freely climb up the Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt to sunbathe and have tea parties. This is what the inside of the White House looked like when it was being reconstructed in the late 1940s. During World War II, Walt Disney developed a Mickey Mouse gas mask, designed to help children get comfortable and relaxed while wearing the mask. This right here is a photo from President Abraham Lincoln's first inauguration in 1861. This is Herman the cat, a cat who was given the title of expert mouser aboard a U.S. Coast Guard ship during World War II. This is the iconic log cabin where Abraham Lincoln was born in 1809. John Quincy Adams was the first U.S. president ever photographed. Here he is in 1840, more than a decade after his presidency. This is the world's first skyscraper, the 10-story home insurance building, which was located in Chicago. This is Ahmet Ali Çelikten, a man who is generally considered to be one of the first black pilots, and perhaps the very first. Fiat once had a car factory with a working test track on the roof. This is the oldest picture of the White House ever taken. This is what the face of the Statue of Liberty looked like before it was installed onto the monument. This is what economy class on a commercial plane looked like in the 1960s. This is Charlotte and Marjorie Collier, a mother and daughter who survived the wreck of the Titanic in 1912. In 1903, Edward Llewellyn, Left, made history by breaking the world record and catching the biggest sea bass ever caught off the coast of Catalina Island. In 1969, Niagara Falls was drained in order to remove a large number of boulders that had accumulated at the foot of the falls. This is what the view of downtown Manhattan looked like from the Empire State Building the year it opened in 1931. This is what one college student's dorm room looked like in the 1910s. This right here is a once state-of-the-art piece of armor that used to be worn by golf course workers sent out to retrieve range balls. For its 50th anniversary, over 300,000 people walked across the Golden Gate Bridge. This is what Times Square looked like in 1921. Speaking of other things that didn't catch on, this was a proposed firefighting suit designed to drench the wearer in water. This is Emma Lillian Todd, the first woman to design an airplane. This is a picture of the opening of the very first New York City subway back in 1904. This is William Hutchings, one of the last surviving American Revolutionary War veterans. This is how many barrels of wine the French army supplied for its troops for the Battle of Gallipoli during World War I. After World War I, sculptor Anna Coleman Ladd led a team that crafted realistic masks to restore the faces of injured soldiers. This is Louisa Ann Swain, the first American woman to ever vote in a general election. This is the check for $7.2 million issued August 1, 1868, that the U.S. sent to Russia for the purchase of Alaska. This picture, from the 1980 Moscow Olympics, shows a number of performers making a human torch. This is the Brewster armor suit, one of the first fully functional suits of body armor designed for World War I combat. This is Jack the Baboon, a South African baboon who worked as a signalman at a railway station in the 1800s. During his almost decade of railway work, Jack never made a single mistake. Before he died, Abraham Lincoln had a life mask made of his face. This is what it looked like. Before it became that iconic sign all us sign heads know and love, the Hollywood sign read Hollywoodland. This is investor Walter Thornton trying to sell his car for $100 directly after the United States stock market crash in 1929. This is the Thanksgiving menu that was served at the Plaza Hotel in 1899. Huntington Beach in California used to have a bunch of oil derricks on top of it. This is what a float from the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade looked like in the 1930s. Before it found its home in New York Harbor, the Statue of Liberty's head was on display at the 1878 Paris World's Fair. Recognize these big old rocks? This is Mount Rushmore before the presidential heads were carved into it. This is Lemuel Cook, maybe the oldest living veteran of the American Revolutionary War, photographed in the mid-1800s. This is what Franklin Delano Roosevelt looked like at the start of his first term as president in 1933. This was the scene aboard the ship the Queen Elizabeth as it brought soldiers back home to New York after World War II ended. This is the first aerial photo ever taken, captured by James Wallace Black from a hot air balloon high above Boston. Over 80,000 people attended the 1921 heavyweight championship boxing match between Georges Carpentier and Jack Dempsey. This is the Dale Creek Bridge, a bridge built in Wyoming in the 1800s that was so rickety that trains had to slow down to 4 miles per hour to cross it safely. In 1964, Randy Gardner, pictured here, set the world record for the longest time without sleeping after staying awake 264 hours. Josef Tiso, Catholic priest and leader of Slovakia, giving a speech in front of soldiers and civilians in Neusol, Banska Bystrica. To the left of Tiso, to his right, is Hermann Höfle, a general of the Waffen-SS, in October of 1944. Sergeant Reckless was a Mongolian mare who served in the Korean War with the U.S. Marines. She carried ammo under fire, once making 51 solo trips in a day. Honored with medals and promotions, she became a beloved hero and was later awarded the Dickin Medal for bravery. Rother's carousel in the 1950s in the United States accelerated to 33 revolutions per minute, creating a centrifugal force of almost 3G. When visitors stuck to the walls of the drum, the floor automatically lowered to amplify the effect. Marine PFC George Chanak pauses by a row of fallen Marines on Okinawa, May 1945. George Chanak was killed in action not long after this picture was taken. He was 19 years old. Smiling in the face of death, Georges Blind was a member of the French resistance, and he was captured by the Germans and sentenced to death by firing squad in October 1944. Sergeant Reckless was a Mongolian mare who served in the Korean War with the U.S. Marines. She carried ammo under fire, once making 51 solo trips in a day. Honored with medals and promotions, she became a beloved hero and was later awarded the Dickin Medal for bravery. On this day, May 18, 1939, Jewish protests erupt across the British-Palestinian Mandate after Britain's white paper halts immigration, sealing the fate of millions of Jews to be murdered in the Holocaust.